Hello, pulling fans from Europe and USA and from across the world. Welcome to our new podcast, Across the Pond, with Sasha.
And Tiger.
And Will.
And Janis.
Janis, yeah, exactly. Welcome. Tonight, we're going to tell you all about tractor pulling in Europe in our first episode because our season is starting soon, and we're going to do that right after the intro. Hello there. So this is our first episode Across the Pond, podcast for pulling fans from around the world, simply because we thought this is a worldwide sport and nobody's taking care of worldwide coverage. And we got guests here. We got Tiger. We got Will from America. We got Janice and me. We are usually Floating Finish, the German podcast. And yeah, tonight we prepared a little bit of information about how tractor pulling looks in Europe, because our season is starting soon.
Yeah, end of April.
End of April, we have our first big Euro Cup event, first big pull for Germany.
The big German Championship, start of the German Championships, and the big start of the Euro Cup in the heavy mod, light modified, and superstock class.
So this is the reason why we talk about Europe today, and the next episode will be about America.
Yeah.
So we collected questions from pullers in the States to answer today. And yeah, the first thing, because I've been to the States before.
About every 21 years, right?
Yeah, no, I've been to the States a little bit often. But there was one question I got asked last time I was there that I found extremely funny. And that was, how is pulling in Europe? Must be nice if you only have to drive 3 hours to every event.
Funny. Funny.
So I went online and I created this. What you see here is America. And I put Europe, our circuit, on top of it. And everything where it's yellow is basically where we pull. I might have forgotten some guys up here, some up there, and some wherever. But this is the main area we pull. And if you consider this, so you could say we pull from the north of Florida to somewhere up in Canada. So if you run the Euro Cup, you will have pulls from here, here, there, there, there. We travel a lot too.
And you have to go with boats.
Yes, and everything here in between is water, water, water. So we have a lot of ferry time in between also, which takes a lot of time because ferry is a lot slower than a truck.
The 3 hour thing is mainly something for the Netherlands.
The guys here, that's where the main stuff is happening. If you're in that area, you're lucky. So that out of the way. We had some questions. So we pull basically since the late 70s, and the first rulebook here was taken over in 1978, 79, and it was basically a copy of the NTPA rulebook, just turned metric instead of imperial, and that was the classes we started with. Today, it looks a little bit different, because we run anything from garden tractors to hot farms, super stock, pro stock, modifieds. So, but the people ask, what are the exact classes? So I start very small, very quickly.
Our smallest class.
Stock garden tractors at 500 kilos, which is like 1,100 pounds. Then we got modified garden tractors, also at 1,100 pounds, 1.3 liter engines, naturally aspirated, usually motorcycle. Then we do 600 kilo, which is like 1,300 pounds. They are still considered garden pullers, run the same sled. They are limited to 3 liter turbocharged.
5 liter naturally aspirated.
5 liter naturally aspirated. And they use, like you can see here, BMWs, also American V8s, small ones, 305.
Some small blocks. We have BMW V12 engine in this, 2 motorcycle engines.
Yeah, so that's the little stuff. Then we still have, or already have we do have not still have, we have them for quite a while, what they call the compact diesels. They're also at 1,300 pounds. Usually have a 2 liter or 2.5 liter 4-cylinder car engine in there. Can be diesel and methanol. Yeah. Single charger. Basically little pro stock with car engines component. So then we go up a level higher. This is where we start with big tractors.
Pulling category.
The lowest farm pulling category under the ETPC rulebook is what we call a hobby sport. These are tractors that are limited to 2,700 RPM. and they have an air restrictor depending on the weight class, which is pretty small.
Yeah.
They're doing about 300, 350 horsepower.
And then with different
Weight classes from, let's say, I think
3.5 tons,
7,000 pounds to 11,000, 12,000 pounds. So that's the stuff that you run at the local events. So then we have what we call the level 2. So these guys, they're also on an RPM limit, and also have an air restrictor. But this is 2.66 inches. They do close to 1,000. May not be component. Everything has to be OEM. OEM head. May run intercoolers. And there are, as I said, around 1,000 horsepower and run mainly in 7,700 and 9,900 pounds. One class higher is what we call Super Sport. That's these guys, and they are pretty serious. This is still RPM limited, but everything else is free. And they are talking, depending on the engine size, up to 2,400 horsepower at the moment. So this would be comparable to Superfarm. They run 3,200 RPM, but with much bigger turbochargers and...
But also 2 weight levels.
At 7,700 and 9,900.
Yeah.
Yep. So, of course, after that, and they can be component. It's basically a step into Pro Stock just with an RPM limited engine. Then we do, of course, have Pro Stocks. Different to the America, we run 7,700 pounds, 510 cubic inch limit, and still OEM heads, as far as I remember. They're discussing this, but so far it's all OEM stuff. Then, of course, Super Stocks, which are basically pretty much the same as in the US, except for engine size, I think, is
10.6 liters. I don't know.
Nobody understands liters in the States, Janis. You have to talk inches and cubic.
You're the man with the...
Anyway, I think the 6-cylinder stuff is all the same. All right, so modified. So that's where we have a little bit of a difference. We got the 5,500 light modified.
Yeah.
Which is a Eurocup class. They do have a limit in there, but it's so high that it's actually not really effective.
So the main engine combinations
it's basically
are
twin Hemi,
3 Chevy,
twin Allison.
We have twin Allisons in there.
Yeah.
Some truck engines with 3 turbochargers on it.
Yeah.
Tank engines and some like that.
Okay, then we have what we call the modifieds. That's a 7,700 pounds. Basically limits 3 Hemis, 4 Chevy, twin V12.
Yeah.
Also the big V12s because we got the big Griffins over here.
3 turbines, 3 Russian turbines.
Yeah, turbines up to 6,000 whatever horsepower. We're just introducing the classes. And then we got the 4-ton, what we call the heavy modified, 8,800 pounds. And strict, there's no overweight, and we are discussing whether we will still make it a little bit lighter or not. Everybody's preparing for that to get anywhere closer to the American weight limit whenever they will figure out what they actually want to run in reality and not on paper. So yeah, this is basically the ETPC recognized classes.
But most tractors run in the modified, also run in the heavy, correct?
Every tractor is allowed to run 2 weight classes. Mm-hmm. Depending on where they are.
You forgot the minis.
I forgot the mini ones. Yeah, they're basically the same as in America, and just that they are unlimited. So our V8 guys run 1871 blowers instead of 1471s.
And we're having some with V12 engines on it.
Yeah, which are getting rarer and rarer because the V12 engines are just too long, so they can't get enough weight on the nose. And on a not so good track, they are very competitive. If it's getting very grippy, they are just sky high.
You can say this when you don't watch on the German mini classes.
Yeah.
So there we're getting more and more V12s again.
Yeah, especially on the, as I said, on the lower levels, on the let's say regional events, the level for the V8 is not so high, and then you can still compete very well with the V12.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a very, very brief, quickly introduction of what we are doing here, and basically answered the first question. What are the limits and rules?
In most polls, they start the way that you presented them as well. They start with the garden stuff, and then they go into the hot farm, and then they go up to the pro stock, super stock, and the modifieds, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. The garden tractor pulling basically is and I would not say its own association, but it's kind of a club inside the club. So they come in their own show, and many promoters just book the garden tractors to do something on the Saturday afternoon and
Saturday morning. So.
Saturday morning before the real crowd comes in, just to give the little guys a chance to compete and learn. Yeah, that's the reason why they have them. Get new folks in.
Especially the 600 modifieds or the 1,300 pound class. They're it's pretty new. I think we're driving it 8 to 10 years now. And many of the garden polos with the lighter modified changed to the big class.
Yeah, and we got the first guns trying to get into mini rods now.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically not so different to what they're doing in America. Just the problem that we have a border every, I don't know, depending on where you are, 300 to 600 miles, and then the languages changes and the culture changes and things are just done differently.
Yeah.
Do you take a passport with you, or is
No,
that required?
that depends. We got this thing, what's called the EU, and the EU basically means there's no borders except for the outer limits, like Hungary and Bulgaria, and they have to protect the borders to Russia and wherever, Turkey. And within that EU region, everybody can travel without a passport. There's no border control, nothing. Unless you go to Switzerland, they play their little island there. They do have border controls, but usually they just wave you through, but it's not that big of a deal. They are, the only thing they care at the Swiss-German border is under the table money, cash. So if you look rich or purposely not rich, they might stop you. Check if you got any cash on you, more than 10,000. But other than that, you can travel freely.
Awesome.
Yeah, the only place we really need to run a passport is when we go to Canada. Otherwise, we're free states here running all the way through. And you do have to have one. You don't have to have one to get into Canada. You got to get one to get out of Canada.
Because they won't let you out, or the Americans won't let you in.
That's basically right.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is. I don't know if they won't let us back in, or the Canadians want to keep us. I just don't know. But one of them up there is going to stop you when you come back into the States. So.
I think it's harder for Americans to come back into their own country. So
it is,
especially without a passport. Then you're all of a sudden an illegal immigrant, and you know how they are treated. You got to take the southern border then.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get through Mexico than it is Canada.
Yeah, swim the Rio Grande, and there you are.
That's true. That's basically that's a true statement.
You should try to get from Europe to America through an American airport. You sometimes spend 4 hours waiting in immigration, just waiting in line to be checked throughout, to get your fingerprints taken, iris scan, and everything. And I don't know what they think. When you come from here, and when I arrive in Europe, I take my passport, put it on an electronic scanner, and open the door. There you are in, and I don't know.
Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I got some more questions to answer.
A lot of questions.
Yeah. Question: do they allow electronic fuel injection for the Arco Superstock tractors in Europe? This was asked by Leslie Parker. Yes, they do. We have no limits on electronic fuel injection. Actually, I was sitting on the meeting where they were discussing that about, 8-9 years ago. And the tech guy said, yeah, we are going to not allow any AFI, no electronic ignition. And I said, you are aware that we have several tractors running EFI, running completely electronic ignition for like a decade already? I said, you are going to outlaw tractors now? Oh, no. He didn't even have an idea what he was talking about. And there has been guys up in Finland running V12s on methanol with EFI since the mid-90s. So it never really was of any concern that this could be outlawed. And by the time they got the idea that this could be outlawed, it was too late. So, yeah. And it's not like EFI is super easy to install.
No.
But it's a lot cheaper to do it. I mean, a good EFI system is about the same price as a good data logger. And it has the data logger included. And once you got it all figured out, which is not easy, it just runs. And it's safer, and it's really, really saves on parts in the long run. It's just this big, steep learning curve.
We did a interview with Jeff Hurt last year, and his fast lane tractor, the black super stock, the black and green one, he was saying that he would put that back together, but he's just waiting for NTPA to come around on the EFI. They don't allow it. So, I mean, that tractor's, you can do some things with it, but you can't put EFI on it and compete. So I think with the PPL, he can, though. So that's why it only pulled with the PPL.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I find that kind of funny because if you look at what the street racing kids of today do, you know, the guys that are big on YouTube, and it's all EFI. That's what they...
Well, I think there was EFI and the Brent Payne Galat Mini, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that was outlawed. So,
yeah, I mean,
what do?
They still...
You have an idea, and they don't allow it, so you get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not needed on a blown V8 because the technology there is figured out and it runs. And the blown engine is rather simple in the fuel curve because it's just linear. But anything turbocharged, pro-charged, benefits from EFI, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and for us, it has helped keep all the different engines alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more question from Marky Mark. Do you require a component chassis above a certain class? No, we don't require it. It may be allowed, but it's not required. What are your rules for shielding the turbo? Basically, pretty much alike to what has now come in the US, where we have the cross in the front, cross in the back with a pin holding the wheel in. Then we have to have a cage that will catch the intake wheel in case it comes out. And everything is, yeah, basically a lot of steel around, a lot more steel than you have in the States. But I see you got Kevlar blankets now, so it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, the Kevlar blankets around the compressor housing.
Yeah.
And then it's the same, like you said, on both ends. They got the cross in there to keep it, break it all up so it don't get out of there.
Yeah, and
we had been running bolts to keep in the exhaust side for years.
Yeah, we had that also for years. That's been in there since I can remember. But what we had to do, we had to move the cross right to the exhaust of the exhaust housing, and that had to have, that cross also has to have a center bolt that basically is a hair away from the bolt that holds the exhaust wheel, so that if that exhaust wheel wants to come out, it runs against that bolt and can't come out. And the whole thing has to be held with a certain amount of thickness steel. So I remember when we did that for our tractor, I really had to roll the steel because you couldn't buy any tube that thick to hold the cross, because we had that happen that, the wheel came out, ran into the cross in the exhaust pipe, and then just shredded the exhaust pipe and came out that way. Mm. And the same with the intake. Okay. With the intake protection, we have that for, 10, 12 years already, that the intake, that the wheel can't get out, because we had one incident where the flagger almost got hit by an intake wheel that shot straight out of the turbocharger into the sand pile, but, passed right across the flag man. So that's when they introduced that a long time ago.
Looked like a Wild West bullet.
Yeah. A spinning one. Do most owners drive their own tractors, or do they have a separate pilot or driver? Not really. The thing is, most teams here are really teams. This is people who got together, decided to build a tractor. Often they share the ownership of it. And depending on the class, they might put on the lightest guy or the one who works the most. And it's not like there's any hired gun. I mean, it's like with our tractor, I have to pay the bills. My buddy who works the most on it is driving it. And that's the way it is in a lot of teams. Yeah. And if you got a good rancher, that they put him on the driver's seat, because that keeps them most motivated, because they feel it's like their tractor.
Well, probably grandfather pulled it, then father pulled it, and now the kids are pulling it. Or
and even then,
the cases too.
Even then, in the Green Monster team where I come from, the drivers, yes, of course, the son of the owner is still driving, but not always. There's 3 guys who work their butts off in the workshop, and they get to drive too. and it's, yeah.
Well, and we see that a little bit here with Masterson Farms and several other ones, but a lot of it here is Dad was driving, son starts driving. We see that with the guys out of Texas and with Phil Parrish and his son Rhett, and but now, like I said, Masterson Farms, the guy who helped them work on it and was with Don and Kevin the whole time, he's actually driving now too and doing a fine job actually.
Yeah, but I think you got a lot of what we would call family teams, or pulling families actually, where the family owns the tractor. That's kind of rare here. It's not unheard of, but
it's not unusual. But we have some.
As I said, mostly this is yeah.
It's like our team.
Yeah,
we're some group of guys who want to have fun. So
yeah, and I figured out I can't do this alone. I need somebody who can do the wrenching on the rough shit. Somebody has to do the electrics. I can do the fuel. Somebody has to do the marketing. Obviously, that's Janice. And yeah, that's how we got together. And that's the only way we can do it. I wouldn't be able to just do it all on my own, even if with 2 people or so. No, it's team effort.
Now, I have a question. Do you guys spend time together outside of the tractor, or is it always
just right now? No, sometimes we do.
Yeah, when we go to the pole.
What we do is we meet at least once a week in the workshop with everybody. If there's a lot of things to do, then the guys who are needed will be there more often. I try to have like 1 or 2 events in the year where we do something together as a team, be it going out for dinner together. I mean, really going out, not just getting food or have a party together. And otherwise, of course, that brings me to the next questions. Do you really have a band and party after each event? And I would have to say, not at every one, but most of the Saturday events we do.
Yes.
So for us as a team, we would go to a pole, drive 2 to 5 hours, unload, get ready, pull, get everything back together. And then we as a group of what we are, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, we haven't going to the pulling party together. And that's basically our weekend entertainment.
Or we're going to other teams, sit down there and have a talk and a drink, or they're coming to us, or that's, you can say I think in the US it's probably the same, but the pulling group, the whole pulling world in Germany is one big family, and you can go to every other team, sit down, or you meet everyone at the next party, and
at the bar.
At the bar.
That's how you make connections at the beer bar. That works the same way in the States too. I figured that out already.
And most events have a big.
They just don't drink as much as we do.
Most events have a big party tent, and
yeah.
After the poll, most of the spectators and some of the teams will meet there, and
and it's not only
together.
That's why I see these questions. Do you really have a party after the poll? Yes, they do have a party, because that's a big part of their income. Because we are mostly, as tractor pullers, we are out in the countryside, in little areas or in little villages where there's nothing else going on. And when the tractor pull comes to town, it's often the place to go for the youth. And what they often do is they have a DJ or band playing in the evening after the poll. But to get to the party, they have to pay admission to the poll. So oftentimes they just have to watch 2 or 3 hours of tractor pulling before they even get to listen to the music. So that's one way to force them into tractor pulling, which works pretty well, by the way.
But one thing I've always been fascinated with you guys is the teams will sometimes have not like a pre-party, where it's catered, and you get, if you're someone who sponsors the team, you get certain privileges to come in and spend some time with the team, and you might get some merch out of it or something like that, but it'll have some catering or something to it too, to really bring in more sponsors.
That's the way how sponsorship works. If you ever watched a Formula One race, they're bringing 2 to 3, 4 trucks that just do nothing else but hospitality. And sponsoring is not about the sticker on the tractor or the car. Sponsoring is about your sponsor bringing in special guests for a special treatment, like customers or salespeople, to make them feel special and to give their brand let's say, a good
Like a
reputation.
VIP experience.
Yeah, give them a VIP experience so they feel like very special and they want to buy that product because they think, I don't know, Mercedes-Benz treated me so well and they're so kind and I'm so special. Yeah, and if you come to the dealership the next time with that feeling, you are very well more likely to buy a Mercedes-Benz than something else that never took you out. And that's the same thing in tractor pulling. And when you see those big team hospitality areas like in Made,
Yeah.
this is where the teams invite their sponsors for a weekend with their customers. You will have sponsors that bring like 80 people to a pull.
Wow.
And that can be so big as with MPM, the oil company, that they have a concert in the pits just for the people that came.
And they
the
have
sponsor.
250 people there.
Yep.
With own food trucks, with their own bar, like Sasha said, an own or band or DJ, and own party, and you only come inside that with the right wristband if you are part of the team or part of the sponsor.
Yeah, and the trick in this whole scenario is that you as a team provide the catering, and afterwards you write a bill for food and drinks to the sponsor. And the sponsor has no problem taking that out of tax money because it was just catering and customer support, not sponsoring. Nobody of your employees will be jealous about the company giving out money for, I don't know, burning fuel. So, and that's how a lot of polls work here. That's the whole thing, how the Fischhoff tractor poll works. They got this big VIP area because sponsors bring their customers to the event. They get their special treatment, their own area, their own bar, their own food, get the best places, and the team afterwards writes an invoice for catering and VIP. And that's
I think that's what America needs more of. I mean, and I'm starting to transition into that myself. My tax guy told me, "Hey, listen, if you're feeding and taking care of these people with libations or whatever, that's all right off because you're entertaining your sponsors and stuff." So
correct.
Why wouldn't we want to do that? You know?
Yeah, and as I said, the way into sponsorship, and it's not made up for me. This is, as you can see it in every big motorsports series. They cater their sponsors and their guests. I mean, I've been invited, luckily, to one or two races, actually two, together with my father, because he was in a position where Mercedes-Benz was trying to sell engines to him. And first thing we got, Formula One ticket. So you go to a Formula One race for free. Actually, I once heard that at the big racetracks, the big racing series, at least half of the crowd there is not paying at the gate, but getting tickets from the various sponsor companies involved. And it's actually so bad that if you want to hire a racetrack, they'll ask you how many tickets do you buy up front, which you as a promoter then have to load off at your sponsors.
But they have a certain number of events. We have so many tractor pulls, and the thing that I started watching recently after we started talking was that whole driven show, that F1 show that they put together to bring in more interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that now they have record attendance. They went from not a lot of money as far as their valuation, and now they're like $1 billion company again.
Yep.
It's amazing what they've been able to do. I honestly think that's what we need here. We need big Netflix type cameras to follow some of these more interesting teams around that are doing something cool.
So now the fun stuff comes. We had something here in Germany with our
Discovery.
Yeah, with the Discovery, and they done 2 seasons of a show called Full Pull, one tractor versus 20 tons, and they had the Green Monster team, the Erlkönig team, and the Kaiser team from the Superstock class, and they got drove to 3 or 4 events with the team and with their cameras and in the workshop with the cameras, and they talking a little bit, and it was 2 seasons long, or 4 episodes each season, and it was so popular then that the Fischhoff Tractable exploded.
Yeah.
From spectators the year after.
Yeah, and they didn't focus on the competition.
No, they
just showed behind the scenes stuff. They maybe showed how that one tractor of the team that they were following was pulling, but the rest was just basically bullshitting in the workshop.
Yeah.
So we did something here in America. Brian Loans did it, and he did it with Motor Trend, where he had a couple of modifieds go down the track, pulling the exact Bauer sled, weighted the exact same, and it was basically like a drag race. And then they would have like a photo shoot, and then they would fly the drone, and then they would, get them all cleaned up, and then they'd switch tracks and do it again. And, the guys split a decent purse, but what they didn't know is that they were best friends. So the guys are like, the Discovery's like going to pay the winner, a handsome salary, and then the loser didn't get anything. Well, the guys were best friends, said, hey, we'll split it. But they said for the amount that they had to do, just spinning around, sitting and doing nothing and having people film them and stuff, he said it almost wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But I see where people are trying to do that, but I haven't seen that show. You haven't seen that show because we're not on Motor Trend. It was a Motor Trend exclusive. It needs to be broadcast out to the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean
that's
that full pole show even made it to Japan, I think.
Yeah. Oh, didn't know
that's
that.
amazing.
Not that they have any tractor pulling in Japan anymore.
Yeah, but since then, every time I say to friends of mine, I go to a tractor pull and say, "Oh, you know Team Kaiser? Oh, you know the Green Monster team? Yeah, I know them." And then, I know Green Monster, and I say, "Yeah, they're one team from 80 teams in the whole German scene." So.
Yeah. 80s even not enough.
No, it's not enough, but
Tiger, you're quiet.
Sorry. I'm just kind of picking up on, waiting for, I'm sure there's probably plenty that I'll say when I get started. So
yeah,
you
the
guys
thing is,
just get the break.
I ran out of script, so this was the questions we wanted to have asked. People wanted to answer, and we got through that. And thank you again for everybody on Pull Off and on our websites and Facebook for posing these questions. For the next show, Europeans, please, questions for those two guys.
There you go. Absolutely. We were looking when you were coming through, and, we started on the garden tractors, and then we went to hot farms. Hot farm over here, I think we've got a farm class that runs like an 4 mile an hour, 8 mile an hour, and then they've got an open class. You've got to make these other two classes before you can make the open class. And then we go to, I guess, the hot farm. Would that be like our 3,000 RPM class, Will?
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, the thing what we do here is we took the 3,000 RPM, and then we figured out we have different types of tractors, and the one type with 6-cylinder engine stops at kind of 360 cubic inches, and the next one level up is too big. So what we did is we split the RPM, so we gave 2,700 to those with 427 and 3,200 for those with 360. So RPM by engine size is the same, so they can run together. There's two different types. Basically, it's the American-based tractors and the European-based tractors.
Right,
but it works.
We have something. We have something over here called a hot stock that's running, I think, 1,400 RPM. But the one of the ways that we limit tractors over here is we'll have like a box turbo. Everybody's got to buy the same turbo, injection pump. Your turbo could be whatever. Yeah, but if someone's running really good and you want their injection pump, you pay the $500. You get their injection pump, and then they get a new one, and it's all sealed. You can't open it. You can't tune on it. It's just plug and play. And so that's another way that we limit things without having to do the RPM. But I would think anything over 17 miles an hour in the States has got to have a roll cage. And I would assume something like that. And you guys did say that last week. We were talking a little bit. Some of those tractors that are hot farm, they actually have the cabs, which have the rollover protection as well. So they don't need the actual roll.
So there is no official sanctioned pulling taking place without a rollover protection. It may look differently, but it's all certified and okay with insurance, and works.
Correct.
Yeah. When you mentioned box turbo, when you mentioned box turbo, we do this restrictor plates in front of the turbochargers because that prevents people from building expensive custom-made chargers.
Because they can't get the air in.
Yeah, no matter what you do, you can just take a one size bigger turbo than what your restrictor is and still be pretty good on the way. We know that, for example, in one class, there's a truck turbo that you can buy off the shelf. That's pretty much the best turbocharger you can get for that class. And it's costing maybe $1,200, $1,300 and it makes 960 horsepower or something. Cheap. That was the intention. Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha. Well, and then you come in like the factory ROPS are better. That's on your smaller classes. And then once they get into the 3,000 RPM class, then you're getting into your roll cages. You're getting into your built frames. The frames are not, they're still all all cast, factory cast, and they're 466 with 2.5 chargers, I think, or 2.6. And those are getting into your roll cages, 3,000 RPMs. And then once we get from there, then we start getting into our, what would you call them, Will? Light limiteds. And then you're talking up there. Are they still running A pumps up there in the East Coast?
No, they can run P pumps now.
Okay. So 466 P pumps, 3x4 charger. The only difference.
Cube, yep.
Okay, so we're 466 down here yet on them. And you guys can run intercoolers out east where we run no intercoolers here in the Midwest. So being from Missouri area out here, I've got Illinois, Indiana, we go south, Tennessee and all that's all around us. So they're basically kind of the same there. And then they've got a light limited class, which is they run like a 360 with dual chargers, or you can run 410 with a single charger. Most of that's diesels, I think. So, okay, so let's go ahead and just go with our classes like our pro. We've got mini rods over here, same as you guys over there, like you said.
Yeah.
And then our pro stocks over here, 680 cubic inches, which would be, and then I think they've got to finally put a limit on the chargers, but it's like 6.5 inches or something. It's something huge. So pro stock class over here is really big. People are really into that. The light pro stock class that we were just talking about, I think is going to be a very good class that people will be watching because it's got a smaller motor and it makes it. I think there's going to be more color in it.
Yeah, that's desperate.
Then we go to this super stock class. We still run quite a few diesels over here along with our alcohols. The diesels are starting to come on now where for many years, the Connors brothers came out with the Bad Medicine tractor and really dominated the sport, and alcohol dominated the sport. Now you're starting to see guys like Triple Bypass and a few other ones that are coming up that are really running right with the alcohol supers. They've got it figured out, and that is a neat class. When you start seeing the horsepower that these guys are putting down and how they've changed the way they do it to put it on the ground. And I think that's a really neat deal for the alcohol and diesel guys, that you can see the difference between two of them, how they can run one way and the other one run the other way and still be very competitive. And then we get into our modifieds. We've got a light modified class with 4 motors, and then we can go to the big motors. Most of the guys run just add a couple motors to it and away they go. And I'm sure that's about the same as you guys over there in your unlimited class. They call it unlimited here. As long as you can make weight, you can put it on there.
No, we do have limits in every class. I think 4 Chemis with 1471. So
we call that open or unlimited modified.
Yeah, the Dutch.
Right.
Our light mod is two blown.
Oh, 2 blowns? Okay.
Yeah, the
or
thing
3
with,
turbines.
The thing is, as I said, we started out with a rule book from the 1970s, and we had the weight classes in there. And those limits were actually introduced here when everybody and his brother started buying tractors from the States, hitting with, let's say, 5 blown V8s on single aircraft engine tractors. And that pretty much killed the scene here instantly for a lot of teams. So, yeah, that's when they introduced the limits. And they haven't really changed that much since then. So, And as I said, we used to still run the old weights, and they have now finally agreed to lower the heavy modified class. And yeah, but so far nobody has seen a reason to remove the limits, because we all know what's going to happen. It'll be V8s only, Hemis only, and then nobody will come watch this anymore. And we don't want that to happen. It's bad. It's bad the way it is already. We are so happy we have. Yep.
Speaking of that, though, what are they watching? What is a fan's going to buy a ticket, and they got so much they can see. Obviously you were talking about the bands, and I know Tom Beatty, he runs a lot of music during the day and whatnot. But what are the fans like? Packed, standing room only. What are they watching? What are they standing for? What are they watching the most?
See, that's why we have a guy that's usually on the other side of the fence. He can answer that one.
For my personal, I'm a favorite to watch the modified division because the modified division is a big thing here in Europe, and for me,
why?
Yeah, for me, watching the modifieds, this big loaded tractors with many engines, the big engines, that's the thing I want to see. I don't see this. You can't see this every day. Like you have the Drexler V8 engines, the automotive V8 engines. Yeah, that's cool. But the V8 engines, I personally like them. But it's for the usual fan, could kind of get boring. So we have we have these old World War II engines like the Allisons or the Griffons, and they're radials, but they aren't in the stock mode. They're getting tuned, and like the Green Monster team is doing their own chargers, and
Too late. Doesn't matter. That's life.
Sorry, guys.
So actually, it's the variety that.
The variety of the engines, and getting them to that level that they are.
Yeah.
All the super stocks. You get an original engine block with originally 150, 200 horsepower, and you build it up to 5,000, 6,000 horsepower.
Yeah, but what's the difference then from a European fan to an American fan?
I didn't met an American fan yet, so I can't.
So you will have to find out when you go to Bowling Green.
I have to find out.
Yeah, see how they like the modifieds over there.
Yeah, that's many
over here you have 50 super farms or 50 two-wheel drives or 50 four-wheel drives, and a lot of fans they'll go get hamburgers or something to drink during the middle of that. They can't sit for that long. It's just, but they fans over here, they have I like to say there's a subsection of fan that likes both. They like the tractors and they like the trucks, but then there's this subsection of truck fans that can't stand tractors and tractor fans that can't stand trucks. There's a very small subsection that actually likes both. And so we might not even know unless you start the start of the show. Some people might be showing up late. That's how you know how many people you have. You don't really know until someone rolls out the first vehicle.
Yeah, we have those type of fans too, but we don't. As we don't have so much truck classes, only a few two-wheel drives, and then the semi trucks.
Let's put it this way. There were enough tractor fans in the stands already to make sure that the trucks don't take over.
Yeah. So, but we have the same here with, I say the farm guys, the guys who like the hot farms and the hot farms. And we have the guys who like, the modified the super stocks. So we are differencing between farm polos and tractor polos.
Yeah, that's a big difference here.
Yeah. So we have in Germany, we have some poles that only have hooded tractors, and maybe some demonstration poles from modifieds. So like our pole here in Volkmast, it's one of the biggest poles we have here in Germany.
North Germany.
Hooded.
With stock tractors, of course.
Tractors. Yeah. And then you have like Vugdorf. They're more focusing on the modified division or the tractor puller division.
Yeah, they run all the modified class, and they'll have one class with diesels, and they have the Alke Supers.
Yeah.
But everything else is modified and unlimited, and that's by far the biggest pull here. And that's where the people come from. And it's not the farm people or country people; it's actually city people going there. They like the modifieds. They like the variety, and it's always when you bring something out like last year we had this guy with a big 48-cylinder Pratt and Whitney. Everybody wants to see that. That's what they come for. Even if it's not hyper competitive, that's something different they want to see. And it's the same in the US, I think. That what Bollingers have now put together there with the blown Allisons. People want to see that. And imagine you have 5, 6, 7 of those different types of tractors in a class. That's when you see the potential of the modifieds. And that's what we are seeing here. We are not getting nearly as many people. We do get good crowds with stock tractors and hot farms and pro stocks, yes, but 5,000, 6,000 people, or more than that, getting difficult. The really big stuff, where you get like in the 15, 20,000s, like Bernet, Fischdorf, Bade, that's where they run the modifieds.
Right.
It's easier to put on a hot farm pole and get a crowd of 3,000 people instantly, because then you work in the countryside and everybody's coming anyways, and usually the gate admission is pretty low. And yeah, exactly. Or related to farmers.
America does have a lot of, I guess they're rural polls, but they have a lot of city folk come to them. You know what I mean? And that's where you see that it's something they can't relate to, like a modified engine. You know, that's they can't imagine that. Like, are you kidding me? 13,000 horsepower. You know, if it's something that they're not familiar with, that's what they're interested in. It's the stuff that's really completely off the wall.
Yeah, you can tell them.
That's why modifieds do so well. And I have it here with these jacked up trucks. I don't know why, but people love those trucks. I gauge an audience by when do the iPhones come out and the iPads, and then the whole crowd. That's what's hot. That's how you know you really got something. When everybody has got their phone up recording it, now you know that's hot. So
yeah, I had that last weekend. We had this Mercedes tractor. It's a 4-wheel drive tractor for equal sized wheels. Mm-hmm. It's not really a big tractor, but we had one guy here who turned that into a kind of a hot farm with the 4 equal sized wheels. That's what everybody wants to see. You put that thing on YouTube, and all of a sudden, 20,000 people a day are tuning in on that video with that tractor. Difference.
Well, the good thing
Something
about
you
that
don't
is
see every day.
That's a meme. It's a meme over it. Like you type a GIF and you pull up a tractor pull. That 4-wheel drive tractor that you're talking about is probably going to be a meme, and I've seen it.
Yeah, Jörn has got. Yeah, one of our guys here became a meme on Facebook because yeah, that's him with a hot farm. Yeah, that's having a cabin on, running 800 horsepower hot farm with a cabin, and people go nuts. That's something.
Well, and we see it over here when I watch your guys' polls over there, and I watch these guys come out with these cab tractors, and and until you explained it to me, I'm sure there's other people over here who thought the same thing. Why are they running cabs instead of running, roll cages and stuff? Well, you guys run the same fuels over there as what they got. They have gotten a lot of the associations that went to running one fuel for the whole thing.
Actually, what they did here for diesel is that we have to run what they call HVO. That is, it's not biodiesel. It's something more modern. It's made out of biological waste, but they chemically take this totally apart and rebuild a diesel that's absolutely clear, higher cetane, and very low NOx emissions, and lower carbon, and basically carbon neutral.
I gotcha.
It's a little bit more expensive.
Interesting.
It's a little bit more expensive than regular diesel, but since we run this, we can put CO2 neutral on our tractors, and that's the first thing we did. Put that fuel in, put big stickers on the tractor. So every time some of the tree huggers complain, we can tell them it's totally not the case.
Yeah.
We are running CO2 neutral.
Exactly.
You getting to this place to complain burn more CO2 than what we are doing with a tractor. So no, go figure. Because they're usually not very smart when it comes to physics and stuff. They're usually quiet in that second. And yeah, but anyhow, the fuel is good. As I said, it's a little bit like 10% or 20% more expensive than regular diesel, but in a competition vehicle, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, my kids just tell me, "Hey, Dad, don't argue with Karens. Just hide them off the channel. No one wants to see that." So we hide as many people that start talking all that stuff. But the problem that I've found is polling is such a global audience now. I'm getting comments, and I have to translate them in every different language out there: Portuguese, Vietnamese. I mean, Chinese. Chinese people are watching these videos and stuff. You have no idea. Lots of Russian, and it's just crazy.
The Russians actually would have a good chance getting started if they wouldn't have started this thing lately and closed their borders.
Yes.
So, but we were getting
They don't deserve tractor pulling.
Yeah. The regular people are people. That's some different question.
But they have plenty of farmers there too. Though.
Yep, big farmers, and a lot of German farmers actually that went there and bought land. Same with Ukraine. No, but there's tractor pulling in the Baltics. There's not much. There's a bit in Poland. East Germany is getting good now. I mean, we're doing our part with the shows and the videos, but somebody has to translate them a rule book, for example.
Right.
Before they start pulling without knowing that there is a rule book. That's when usually the serious accidents happen.
Well, we've got, a lot of times either we come over there or you guys come over here, and we usually find a way to make it work for our rules to Gordyville has done that. The Midwest Winter Nationals has done that, putting classes together from all shapes and forms of tractor pulling that are different here, and they change them up with weight and a little bit of other stuff and make it all work. And I think that across different genres of countries that we will start seeing that too, that they'll be able to put us with other tractors and actually make everybody run competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is,
and it'll be a little more globalization.
Yeah, the thing is, SFI isn't a thing here.
Yeah.
So what do you do with SFI rules if they don't mean anything in this continent?
Right. Yeah. The steel flywheels and stuff. I mean,
we do have the same. We have the same regulations. We just don't have the SFI stamp. It doesn't mean anything here.
Right.
If you tell an insurance here it's SFI certified, the insurance says, "What is that?" So, basically, the rules and safety rules are very similar. Of course, when something happens here, we have a board of engineers that are responsible for the safety. It's like Ridgeline was with NTPA, and I know those people talk. But often we introduced rules ahead of when America did it. For example, sled rules, all these box movement control systems, the crash boxes and everything, our turbo protection, the way it looks now in the States is the way it has been looking here for the last 5-6 years already. There's little tiny differences.
Right.
But they are negligible. Basically it's all, safety-wise, it's pretty much the same. We have to have this, our inspectors will allow an SFI clutch can, but you are still able here to build your own clutch can, which has to be then X-rated and has to be thicker than an SFI can, which also is one reason why we have a lot of people with those diesel engines and the big radials. Some of them can't get an SFI clutch can on those, and they have to build their own can. So what we give them is a building guideline where they can say, okay, you have to make this out of a seamless tube, then weld the flanges, and every weld has to be certified, for example, which usually means you can't build it yourself. You have to get it built by some specialist. But then at the tech inspection, you have to show the X-ray papers, for example.
Right.
That would not fly under SFI. Is it unsafe? Probably not. In fact, when you have those pressed steel cans like they had in the past, I've seen clutches come out of SFI cans before.
Yeah, I've seen clutch gears just pop out of vehicles and roll right up the track, right into the stands. Mm-hmm. It happens.
The NTPA rule about the blankets for stock tractors, It's pretty much a rule for International and John Deere tractors. There are some tractors where you can't fit it that way. So there had to be rule changes made there to make it even possible to get a blanket around, like a Fendt tractor, for example. But as I said, there's a bunch of engineers here who are doing work safety as their profession too, who then have to look into that. It would probably be nice to have something like a worldwide governing body for tech and safety and tractor pulling rules. Like starting to make everything metric.
Oh my gosh.
No. That would be the end of it. Let the world vote.
I guarantee you do that, someone's going to come out with another type of measuring system.
The English somehow did that. Jesus Christ. If you take a Rolls-Royce engine apart, you will find out what kind of weird stuff you can do with threads and whatever. You know, it's one thing to get into the American way of building things, and then there's another way, and that's getting into the English way of building things. Of course, they invented it all, and okay.
Do we want to take the time to get into this Bora going super stock?
Yeah, I think. So the reason why we actually came together here is because we wanted to have a little outlook on the European season.
Yeah.
We got a little sidetracked, but it doesn't matter.
Good talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting the first show going. It'll be more. We have to get to know each other a little bit. But anyways, so what's the things we have to look out for in Europe this season?
Yeah, Boer's going super stock.
Yeah, so Barry Boer and his father.
Most of the American fans should know them, that they're constructing mini rod chassis and also driving a mini rod with the Leishner teams together.
Yeah, they got the Bobcat team.
The Bobcat
and they run the Bobcat Mini. One Bobcat Mini in the States, and they used to run two over here and two modifieds.
And the US version of it just won the Mac Winter Nationals.
Exactly. So these guys sold their light modified and went to Brent Payne and bought something Gallard-like from over there, and they're going to focus on the super stocks here now. This is the thing to watch out for. I think they're going to stay on the Dutch circuit for the first year before they go Euro Cup.
They're not competing in Euro Cup this year.
No, just getting all dialed in, and then they go for...
But if you run in the Dutch division on top, you run on the Euro Cup on top for sure.
The Dutch circuit is the strongest here, definitely.
Yeah. You have Mr. Van der Waal on top.
Yeah, we have one guy here who has been pretty powerful with his superstock creations. He builds everything on his own. He's got a big CNC shop. And every time we had an American superstock come to Ahoy the last couple of years, I think he put it on them.
Last time I can remember, I was there with the Gallops in 2017, Brent Payne and his team. And he drove with both Gallop tractors there, and Van der Waal got him on a, like 230, 250 feet long track, and he got them 30 feet behind him.
Mm. So
wow.
Yeah. And
so that was awesome. And the tractors from Payne were running good.
Yeah. I'm not sure so it will be interesting what the how the competition level has changed in the States. We don't have much of a comparison anymore since Ahoy is gone. And another thing in the past was the Europeans started to run the Meters tires earlier. So that advantage is gone. That wasn't easy 20 feet on any Firestone. Ida figured that out when he came here. And somehow got, third, fourth. What else? We got a new Green Fighter coming.
Yeah.
As probably many people have seen.
New triple Allisons.
Mm-hmm. So the Green Monster team is building a new, let's say, call it an Unlimited. It will be able to make the weight in Unlimited, no question. With 3 Allisons with the big homemade superchargers on them.
Called Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Yeah, everybody calls their chargers Frankenstein if there's something different. So that tractor is it's close to be finished. They got like 3 more weeks to go. 4 weeks. We'll be going to the workshop the week before the poll. So 3rd weekend of April or 4th, something like that. Yeah. Visit the shop. Make a little video out of that one. So that will be quite interesting to see, because that's, I think, the last stand trying to run Unlimited with Allisons.
But will be German, German spoken.
Yeah,
video, but
YouTube does have subtitles and translation. You can always turn on the subtitles and hit translation. Somehow, 20% of that makes no sense, but you can basically get the idea.
and will be very interesting. So the tractor, we saw already some photos and really
Yeah, do we have any here?
I don't have any on our floating finish album.
You don't.
No,
We had
because-
last week. Why did you delete them?
because we always delete our photos from
That's
last week.
Anyhow,
So the old one was 18,000 horsepower. What are they expecting out of this new one?
I guess it'll be over 10. And when
Over
you
10?
when you talk to the guys who run the V8s, they will say they're making 32, 3400 with a V8 because yes, it can do more, but it will not do that in a setup for tractor pulling. And I mean, they've been very competitive with the old tractor, with the standard blowers, which definitely don't make much more than 2700. And
He was the first one to get the meters tires running in the unlimited.
yeah, I know, but the problem with the tractor now was that it couldn't keep the nose down. So that's the reason why they.
Yeah, no. But I want to try to figure he could keep up with the big Hemi tractors. You saw in 2018 he was European champion and the Euro Cup champion.
Yeah, and if you look at the light mod, they're running twin Hemis versus twin Ellisons,
Yeah.
and that's this close. And I can tell you, the engines on the light mod are not on the latest development stage. There's quite a bit more in them. So that's going to be interesting. And the first poll will be Fischdorf.
Yeah,
Which,
and-
by the way, you can watch on the live stream on www.ptv Plus and on our channel here.
Yeah, I know.
For Americans, probably easier to watch the www.ptv Plus show. It's going to be 2 days. Yeah, what else? Light modifieds. Fischdorf will also be light modified. The first Euro Cup round for those guys.
And it's the first time since 2007, I think, since the class was invited in the Euro Cup, we don't have any twin Hemi on it.
No, that's going to be... How many tractors we got this year?
We got
14?
14 tractors and 14 different engine combinations.
Yeah.
So we have, the twin Allisons that you talk about from Green Monster. We have one triple Chevy in
Yeah.
it. And then the only V8 is a V8 truck engine from the Metal Boy from Denmark with turbochargers. We have other...
We've got everything. We got twin V12 with roots blowers. We got Rover Meteor V12s with Allison superchargers with different wheels. We got
Rolls-Royce Griffin.
Griffins,
Continental tank engines.
Continental turbocharged, everything.
Yeah.
So this is what everybody's looking forward to at the moment. Light modifieds. Who would thought of that?
Yeah, that's one of the... Yeah.
The question is, why are the Hemis not in the class? Because most of them moved up.
Yeah, we have...
Yeah, there was a lot of guys that came out of mini rod, and decided to go modified, or some others that came out of the bigger classes and went light modified because the light modified was introduced to the Euro Cup, and they were like, why should we run the big stuff if we get in front of the same crowd with a smaller tractor?
But those teams, we have two twin Hemi tractors left in Europe. They're both in Netherlands, but they're only driving their own Dutch competition.
Yeah,
So
one part of that story is because they're pretty religious and they don't pull Sundays. And the Euro Cup competition, is all over Europe. And
you have to pull.
pull Sundays if you run in the points. So the rest of Europe is not catering to your little religious area in the Netherlands. Just so, they get their way. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the other two were this Wicked Screamer from the Boers. Like we said, they say they sold the tractor because of the Superstock. And we got
It's coming back with Chevys from England.
Yeah, it's coming next year. And we have the Uncle Duck tractor with a twin Hemi, but they moved up into the modifieds with triple Hemi.
Yep.
Sounds like that's a good combination of stuff that, and just as well as I do, we talked about this at Louisville, that your guys, most of our stuff is Hemis.
But it makes sense. You can buy everything, and if you have to run 20 pulls a year, and then in a time frame between June and August, September, and you're on tour 2-3 events a week at times, and you break something, you need to be able to fix it. Mm-hmm. We don't run as many Euro Cup holes as you run Grand Nationals. So there's more time for the teams to prepare. Yeah, also the availability of parts is different. if you run a Hemi here, it
signed
still
you-
means you're running an import. You have to get everything across
Right.
from the ocean.
But they signed a contingency that said that they were going to keep the spares and all that stuff to come out and put on a show every time out. You know what I mean?
Most of the guys here carry extra engines with them anyway, so they have, there'll be 2 engines. If they're running 4 or 5 engines, they'll have 2 extras for sure. Do you guys run over there? Where does your, say, 30-inch tire start? The wider tire from your 24.5, like your pro stocks are the 24.5, and when did the 30 start? Like super stock and modified, light modified.
You mean when they started running the white tires?
No, what class do they
Same as in the States.
35?
Same as in the US.
Okay.
7700. Actually, no, our hot farms can run any size tire they want.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, we have some hot farms with the big tires. Wait, let me get a picture. I had one. Where is he? There.
There is no limit on.
I've seen some of your hot.
Yeah, but that's meters.
Oh,
That's a 24/5. The
Oh,
question is, see the guys with the here. That's one. That's a 42-inch. This one here. 42-inch Michelin.
Oh yeah. Yep.
710 white, which is
I don't know. I thought he was wearing the big tires, but then I don't have a picture of some tractor with the big ones.
Yeah, it's the hot farms running the biggest tires here. Because what the heck, if you can get a tire from the junkyard or from an old tractor from the graveyard, from the tractor graveyard, for $500, why should you limit the guy to run those tires? In the end, if you make horsepower, then it's still going to be a special made custom made tire. But
Right.
yeah, see, this is how our hot farms run, and they don't run this because they can't afford anything else. They want those tires. Same
So
here.
we've talked about the new green fighter. We've talked about the light limited modifieds. What else do we want to talk about for European polling 2024?
What other questions do you have? This is a show for mostly American people, so it should be you who have the questions. Next week it's us to ask questions.
What? Okay, so you're talking about super stock and modifieds and all that stuff. What are the other classes doing? Are the 2-wheel drives growing? Are the semis growing? Or is it just your tractor classes growing?
The 2-wheel drives were once bigger, then they get smaller. The 2-wheel drives only had run in the Netherlands, in Sweden, and in France. But the Swedish 2-wheel, I think the Swedish 2-wheel drive is only one tractor left. The France people, the French people are getting some kind of.
French are kind of running the old parts of the Dutch guys.
Yeah.
So, and the French two-wheel drive trucks are more like a show than a competition.
Yeah.
Or at least that used to be that way.
They
were always happy if they get a running Chevy V8 with 871 blower that doesn't explode every third run. So they could put on a show for the crowd there.
And in the Netherlands, you have the guys with the big Hemis, but they are getting smaller and smaller over the years.
Less, yeah.
Now they had last year one team came back from a little break, and this year they have a new name on the starting list, but don't know anything about this tractor.
Two-wheel drives are not doing too well here. They're not dying, but they're not really growing either. Trucks is a very specific thing for the Netherlands
And the Finnish,
and in Finland. The Danish do a little bit,
but not on that level.
no. What would have to happen is Germany getting trucks going, but we have too many tractors for for our association the way that it's run at the moment anyway. So I don't see that happening too soon.
What about diesel pickups? Do you guys run diesel pickups over there?
Nothing like that.
Nope.
No, we don't have any 4x4 trucks or anything like that here.
Yeah, we could.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's-
no 4x4 trucks either.
Yeah, they don't have a truck culture like we have a
Not at
truck
all.
culture.
If you run a pickup
it's
truck,
non-existent.
you're not even a farmer. The most people around here, there are some pickup trucks, but they're usually run by people who run nurseries or something. They have to deliver little loads of plants or something. you don't want to be involved with those guys if you want to be cool. So.
Yeah,
They're not doing donuts. They're doing deliveries.
With the pickup
Right.
trucks, yes.
Right.
I think the division that grows the most here in Germany is the limited modified tractors and the farm tractors.
Hot farms.
The level 2 and level 3. Yeah, I think all level hot farms.
Yep.
They
Because
are
that's what
growing
people
fast.
can afford to
Yeah,
run.
We just got on our latest show. We're talking about the German championships, and on the 7,700 pound class on level 2, we have 25 tractors who are running German championships, and that's suddenly the biggest class we have here.
You start getting 25 in a class, you're getting, there's people building for that class. Somebody gets out there, looks at it, and goes, you know what? I can build. We got an old tractor sitting around. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The only way to get
So-
more new teams is make people in the stands think, hey, I can do this.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep, I can do this.
I agree. I think that's why we got to do more of communication with the teams that are approachable enough that people could see themselves as them one day and say, but some of the classes over there, it'd probably be just ridiculous to say, I want to build to an unlimited modified. Okay. But a hot farm, it doesn't have to be like one of those built hot farms. It could be, something that, their family had on the farm or something like that.
I don't think we have many built hot farms here. Anything under 2,000 horsepower is not built by somebody else. They might buy a camshaft, they might buy a fuel pump or a turbocharger, but the rest
Right.
of it, yeah, and the clutch maybe, and maybe get the gears done, but they will basically build their own tractor. But we made pretty much sure to tell them how to do it. When we started this hot farm stuff, I made a long list of things, what to get where, how to do this, how to do that, who can do it, and made it pretty accessible to, let's say, get up to 500-600 horsepower to get your feet with it and get started. And it kind of went from there. And you can still, once the knowledge is out and now everybody knows how to do it, and the spirit here, in especially the hot farm classes in Germany, is they want to help each other. They want to grow. So there's not much, competition or rivalry. Everybody's happy if somebody else wins. They help each other out. I mean, all pullers do that, but it's really to the point where they even tell their competition how to do it. And if something's not running, they go over there and say, hey, you have to fix this, 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 this. I have this part. Hey, let's come do this. Come to my place. We have a dyno. And try to encourage people to run. I've seen this.
That's good.
I've seen the complete opposite in other parts of the world where they just try to tell everybody, hey, this is how much I paid for the tractor and I don't think you can afford this. And then wonder why they're the only one in the class.
Well, I think what you're starting to see over there is the same as over here, is a family growing. That hot farm deal, you're talking about the pro stock guys over here, the supers and everybody, all the way from the small all the way up. If you're not running, and I've seen guys run their tractor, the guy blow a turbo and won the class or was in the pull-off, and one of the other guys took his turbo off of his pro stock, give it to him to put on it in between classes, in between the first and the last of the class, and actually go to pulling. And I think that it's one of those deals, is that's what you're saying over there too. You're starting to see a family grow together to help each other get so that everybody can run.
I have a fun story when you're talking about getting parts from other tractors. One time the Archer family, Dave Archer, and were here with Black Widow tractor in Ahoy, and they crashed.
Blew the rear end. Yeah, they were trying to run the heavy modified class.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
they blew the rear end, and in the break between the two sessions, they are getting the rear end from modified tractor here from the Bandit modified tractor from Europe. They changed the whole rear axle, and so they could drive into the second session again.
Yeah.
We did something similar in Gordyville a couple of years ago where Jason Forrester, who drives the Papa Smurf, was pulling Vern Zerbe's tractor, the 00Z and Dr. LZ, and both of them scorched some pistons in them. And we took two motors apart, and we took, I think one of them had two good pistons on it left, and we took those and put it in the other one. And 5 hours later, we had that thing running in the finals. And it was kind of done just to make a point to another puller who thought he was automatically going to be in because these two tractors scorched some pistons. Okay, I mean, and here we are. We're putting these two tractors, we're putting these two motors together.
I mean, what adds a little bit of a spice here is the fact that we are still running between different countries. So,
right.
When you get to the imagine an American puller has to borrow parts to a Mexican puller. How that'll work out?
Well, imagine it was all Ford guys working on two internationals. I mean, it's not ideal, but you're going to do it because you came to pole, you know, and that's the whole point. Once you get that mentality, or these new fans who want to become pullers get that mentality, they're going to get bit by that bug too. And when they do, it's going to be their most expensive life decision ever, because they're going to want to put everything into it that they possibly can.
Yeah. How much does this pulling sport cost? All you have?
It costs you everything. Whatever you have, it's going to take everything that you have.
Yeah. Well, no, not that. If you have been doing it long enough, you know where to stop. I know that.
You can find a deal. You can find a deal, but that's what a lot of pullers over here say. Pulling, the cost hasn't changed in 100 years. It takes everything you got, either your time, your talent, or your friendships.
Money. Yeah,
money. Yeah.
I always keep saying it depends on your ego.
How competitive are you? Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Awesome.
Why are you doing this?
You want to win or not?
You know what?
I want to impress a bunch of strangers.
I spent 10 years at the very top level with, being away from home every Friday to Monday morning and being tired at work. And that's why I stopped for a while also, besides moving away to a different location. And but I missed the being around those people and having something to tinker with, which is why I built a tractor. But I don't have any ambition with that thing to win. I wanted to run. I made some very crazy decisions on how to run the fuel and how to run the turbos and everything. And my ambition is to get this thing to work. If it runs okay.
If we win, it's okay.
Doesn't matter. If it runs okay, doesn't break, and then I don't care if I'm second or 10th or win. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing it. So I will not go and chase the first spot. No.
If you can drive it onto the trailer, that's a win in a lot of people's books over here. That's what we say.
Poor us, we're not allowed to drive in the pits and onto the trailer.
True.
For insurance reasons.
If you turn it off on your own, you're fine.
Yep. That's the way it goes. Well.
I think we have it, huh?
Well, I guess we have a start.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been doing what now? Like over an hour, so
yeah,
we're good.
Way over an hour.
Way over. Yeah, I'll try to get something done with it. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All the people out there.
Before we leave, I just want to say next week I will have pay-per-view on Jacksonville, the 13th and the 14th in Jacksonville.
Oh, cool. Yeah, on WW.
It's going to be $10 because they're going to be playing music. They'll be playing disco music in the background. But we'll have Hot Farm, Super Farm, blown two-wheel drive minis, modifieds, and some pro stock 4x4s and some pro stock two-wheel drive, basically. Yeah. So it's the price is a little bit lower than it's been in the past, $10, I think. So check it out.
A lot of people don't realize we have to do this pay-per-view because when we are using a platform other than YouTube, it costs money to do that. So we are not going to pay and work for you to watch. It's just, we're already working for pretty little money and
peanuts.
Peanuts. And we do it because we love the sport, and like we just sit here making asses out of ourselves. So now we got this going, I think. It was a bit rough at the beginning, but I think we're getting it going. Well, thanks, people, for tuning in. We're going to have a show soon again, then with a bit more focus from the European side towards the American side, where I will try to collect questions from Europeans. Yeah, as I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in here. Will, Tiger, I got one there, one there. And I hope to see you soon. Yeah, Tiger, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
See you next time.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all later, okay?
Take care. Bye.
Bye.